Right, so we're approaching, pardon my pronunciation and the noise, Ingalalla Falls here near Delamere, between Delamere and Victor Harbour in South Australia. As you can see, our intrepid little buddy is exploring for me. Best compositions, he always finds them. So yes, it's a very pretty little fall, very accessible. It's only a short 5-10 minute walk from the car park, and we're lucky to capture, or we're lucky to have water, which I'm really pleased about. So yeah, this is what we're going to shoot this morning. So I think the first shot is I'm going to come in quite low here and capture the falls from this angle. So here we go. And let's just test and see how deep. Well, it's fairly deep, that water is. Let's just set ourselves up first. There is a nice log here, so we may need to come back just a touch to get that log in shot. Okay, I think the issue that we're going to have here is that there's an absolutely enormous difference of exposure, dynamic range between this dark water and these dark rocks and that falls which are in bright sunlight. So I'm firstly going to expose for the falls itself. So there's going to be multiple shots here. There's no other way that I can do that. This shot will be quite difficult because of that huge dynamic range, but we'll attempt it. What I'll probably have to throw on is a 3-stop or even a 6-stop to slow down that water a touch. So hopefully probably half a second to a second would do it. It shouldn't be no longer than that. There are some bubbles in the water in front, so while we're doing that multiple focus, stack and exposure shot, we might play with those bubbles and see what we can actually come up with. This way, Raph. No, not in the front. This way. This way. Back this way. Good boy. So let's just throw on that 6-stop and see what we get. I think 2 seconds is too long. I will give it a go. So we'll hit it for 2 seconds and see what we get. So that's a 2-second timer. It is quite nice, but I'm going to reduce that to a second. I'm going to do that by increasing the ISO to around 200, just to lift those shadows up a bit more. And that's at 2 seconds, that's good. I'm now going to drop it down to a second, compensate with the ISO to 320 and take another shot. Oh, there you are, good boy. I didn't know where you were, did I? Hey, I didn't know where you were, good boy. Okay, so put the longer lens on. I'm putting the 100 to 200 on. I'm going to zoom in on the water on a couple of those little cascades. and take some longer shots. Longer in terms of focal length, that is. In terms of exposure, we'll keep it pretty much the same. F11. Our filter's on as before, but this will now allow us to zoom right in on a couple of these nice little cascades. Use our polarizer to darken the wet rock as much as we can. I'm just going to make sure that we lock our focus on the waterfall. It's great that it's a single plane. We don't have to worry about focus stacking or anything like that. I'm going to bring the exposure down to a full second at F11. And that's done. Always check your focus. That looks good. And always check the histogram. And that's good. Nothing blown there. So that's nice. I'm going to zoom in and pick out a couple more spots of this. So I quite like the base of the fall with that stick, and to get that I just need to widen out slightly. Just like that. Again, focus in. I'll focus on the stick. F11, it's in a straight plane, everything will be good. 1 second, 2 second timer. Nice. With this one I'm probably going to experiment a little bit more. I'm going to put this up and see if I can get about a 5 or 10 second shot for the water itself. It's giving us an 8 second exposure, so we'll see what we get. Okay, I actually quite like that zoomed in. What I'm going to do is something that I don't often do, and that is a vertical panorama. Raph, good boy. Got to keep an eye on him. He's happily dunking his head in the water here. Done our first shot. I'm just going to raise this up, overlap by about half to a third, take a second shot, 2 second timer. Oh, it's a beautiful water. The light's streaming in through the canyon now and catching this water, so I've got to watch for those specular highlights, that we don't blow those highlights. But this is glorious. The top of the falls themselves is like a dirty brown water. There's not much we can do about that, really. It is the colour of the water, the minerals are being fed from upstream. And then I'll do one last one. Always do a little bit more than you think for that overlap, and there we go. So once again, I'm doing exactly the same shot as earlier, just in the polarizer to take the glare off these rocks, and again 1 second, and that should give us a fairly nice image, focused on the waterfall itself. Once again, beautiful. It really is gorgeous. The textures are just great. What I'm probably going to do is again do a panorama. I like the focal length, I like zooming in. But this time I'm going to do a horizontal panorama. I just got to make sure on this one, because we're here with this tree, to make sure that when I go up I can capture the top of the falls without that tree here itself. So I just need to move slightly more forward, and that should give us enough. Let's just make sure that does give us enough room to capture everything that we need to, and be able to get up high enough to the top of the falls, which we can. Perfect. So again, all the same, 1.3 seconds. I'm going to focus on the near rock. Go for it. And this is a horizontal, vertical panorama. And so long as we've nailed the focus and the exposure, we should be okay. Thank you very much for joining me here at Ingalalla Falls. It's been wonderful, thank you. Hope you've enjoyed it. I know Rafi has enjoyed jumping in and out of that water. I'm really hopeful that some of these images have turned out well, so you would know by now. So all that leaves me to say is thank you for joining me on this adventure. Wherever you are, please look after yourself and your loved ones, and until next time, see ya. Just on my way back from the falls, and I noticed this light coming through from the side onto this rather majestic tree. I think it's a gum, although I'm not sure what type of gum it is, or eucalypt I think it is. Judging by the leaves from here and the smell, you can't get the smell, but the smell is absolutely lovely. But I'm going to have to shoot a little high. I'm racing a little bit before that light dips, and you notice I'm putting this my tripod up very high, and that's because of these ferns in the foreground. And those ferns in the foreground lead up to the tree, as you can see, but they're quite a substantial height. So to do anything with this, I need to get high above those. Get above these ferns and shoot on above them and aiming towards this tree that's just beautiful up here. And I'm just making sure that our ISO is at 100. And the f8, that's giving me a 15th of a second. But first of all, I'm just going to focus on the tree itself, just like that. And I'm going to take that's at f8.